Hey everybody. So as you can probably expect, I have been spending the last few days when I'm not working and doing other things in my free time. I've spent the last few days playing No More Heroes 3. Um, I wanted to talk about this. I was gonna do my impressions. I actually did recorded impressions like a few hours into the game, but I didn't like how that video turned out. And I thought ultimately I should wait. You're probably wondering why I'm not just doing like a video review. If you want to see reviews, they're fucking everywhere right now. Go watch another channel. They can do a video review. At some point, I want to do videos covering the No More Heroes series. But today, I'm just going to bring you my thoughts. I finished the game. I finished it. It took me about 16 hours. I think you can do it quicker. I kind of took my time. I wanted to get some of the extra stuff and upgrades, and I'm going to be playing through it again to get 100%. But in terms of the story, 16 hours was where I was sitting when I finished it. Roughly 16, maybe like 15 and a half, somewhere around there. No More Heroes 3, if you want to know if it's worth it, I guess that's the big question I'll get out of the way. As a long time No More Heroes Suda 51 fan, absolutely. I can go ahead and tell you this is my game of the year. This is going to be this. I mean, I've very rarely do I just finish a game and then start at it again. And I've already started my second run on New Game Plus on a higher difficulty. Um, no More Heroes 3. I'll talk about it for a little bit. It's got some issues. I'm not gonna color coded. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's the greatest game of all time because it was made on a smaller budget, made sort of like Travis Strikes Again with a smaller team, and with that said, it's gonna have some shortcomings, which is fine. The reason why you play No More Heroes 3, No More Heroes in general, Suda 51 games, is because you want some of that charm, some of that personality, some of the thoughtfulness, and just what Suda brings to the table that other game companies, developers, studios they're not doing. I've played AAA games that have flawless execution, amazing performance, wonderful worlds, and they just feel soulless. That's what brings me back to Suda, is how much of himself he puts into the games, and you can tell this was a game he wanted to make. A few of the shortcomings, the open world is the biggest one. It's not great. The frame rate isn't fantastic when you're in the open world. I actually don't mind traveling around because there actually are things to do, things to collect, side missions and side jobs and little things you can find and interact with. But overall, it's no Breath of the Wild. It's nothing like that. It's not going to blow your mind. But the first No More Heroes was like that as well. I didn't mind the open world there. I don't mind the open world here. I am a little concerned though because I beat the game and some of the map is still locked off. I don't know if that ever opens or what they plan on doing. Maybe they'll do DLC later. I don't know. But it's fine. I was hoping that would open up, but it's fine. I don't mind it. What is there is fun to explore, and it's not perfect. That's been the biggest picking point I've seen. Is people upset about the open world. Honestly, I don't mind it. Like I said, in the first game, it was never an issue to me to travel around like that. What else is okay? What else would I consider a shortcoming? Probably just like some of the presentation. There's some pop in here or there, which is something that they did a day one patch. So hopefully they continue to patch it. But there's some pop in. There's some graphical hiccups that happen. But the game's very stylized. I don't think the game looks bad. The game's very stylized. People have been saying it looks like a PS2 game. I would argue against that. I think the art style works really well for the budget that they had for this game, but I can see why people would be upset that it doesn't look as good as other games coming out this year. But it's fine. I love the art style. I think it looks serviceable, and that's not why I'm here. I'm not a graphics whore. As long as the game looks decent, that's all that matters to me. So what do I like about this game? Everything else. The gameplay is probably the best that the series has had. I fucking love the gameplay. The story is interesting. I need to play through it a few more times to really understand what Suda is trying to say with the story. I can tell that there's different undertones throughout the story, but I need to play through it a few more times. I love the appearance of characters from the series. I was obviously expecting characters to pop up. The twists and turns that Suda takes the story is really cool. The music was great. Once again, I do like the visual style of the game. It's great. They took out levels. That's something really interesting, is that there's no levels in this game. It's mainly like you do smaller fights to earn the right to take on the main fights, which is fine. I've never once played the first two games and been like, hell yeah, I can't wait to walk down this hallway and fight some dudes. They just kind of they scrap that, and you just kind of just do smaller arena fights and then earn your right to do other fights. I didn't mind it at all, honestly. I know people have been kind of complaining about like some of the locations seem kind of samey. There are varied locations in those arenas, by the way. Maybe those people are doing the same ones over and over again because they're idiots. I don't know. But because I get to focus on just the combat, it's great. Because the combat is deeply expanded from the first two games. You have your beam katana, you have wrestling moves, you have the death glove from Shadow Strikes Again, which allows you other moves. You have an upgrade system. Two of them actually. You have a main upgrade system that upgrades your stats, kind of like an RPG. You get to spend points on that, and then you have the chip system for your death glove, where you can kind of modify and get perks. And there's other things I didn't mention, like the slots. From the first few games, are back with the slot machine type things and power ups and stuff. There's a lot. There's a lot to like about the combat. So the fact that I'm not walking around bland hallways anymore is fine with me, as long as I get to fight. It's all I want. I did like the bosses. A few of them I feel like can be expanded upon. Again, I'm going to play through it on New Game Plus, and hopefully there's stuff that I missed I can pick it back up on and stuff. That was an issue with the second game as well, was that the bosses felt kind of flat at points, and some of these do as well. It's hard to match the lineup of the first No More Heroes, but there were some surprises. I liked some of the boss fights for sure. I liked some of the... There are a few returning characters. I don't want to spoil who, because if you want to play and you are a fan of the series. If I could recommend any game this year, No More Heroes 3 would be the one, but the stipulation is I think you really need to be a No More Heroes Suda fan. This is a game for the fans. This is a game for people who've been waiting 11 years like myself for this game. This is a game for people who really love this series and love Suda. If you're not into this series yet, I would not start here. I would probably go back, and on Switch you can download the first two games, and you can also buy Travis Strikes Again, which you need to play Travis Strikes Again in order to understand certain things in this game as well. I'd recommend you to start with the first game and then go from there. But definitely work your way up to this game, because this game is worth it. This game is really good. So that's my thoughts on No More Heroes 3. It's not just a wacky time like 2 was. It's got some more depth. I think Suda is really good at that. He's good at matching whenever he's in charge. He's good at matching the wackiness of the story and the jokes and stuff with the depth and the undertones and the underlying narrative. So I can't wait to see people dig into this game and see what other people come up with. That's the great thing about No More Heroes and Suda games, is that you can interpret them in your own ways. And I just wanted to talk about for a minute, because I'm doing a more off-the-cuff style video here, vlog style thing. I just want to talk about like what why I'm such a big fan. No More Heroes 3, I'll be honest. This game came around at the perfect time. I don't want to get too personal. I don't want to get too into it because that's not why I'm here. I'm not trying to like get sympathy from anybody. But recently I've been going through a bit of a patch of depression. It happens. With everybody, honestly. We all go through those points, and I was going through that. And this game really, I think this game really came along at the right time. I've been fixated on it. I've been enjoying the hell out of it. I think some of the undertones, the narrative undertones, have really helped me the last few days. Really assess myself and assess the things around me. It's just amazing that just is how that happened. And what's amazing about that is this isn't the first time this has happened. The original game, I have Travis Strikes Again and 2 sitting here. But the original No More Heroes, which these are the Wii copies, these are my original copies. I bought this game, it's a little beat up. I bought this game for the Wii back in 2008. I had just gotten a Nintendo Wii. First time I've had a Nintendo console, since like the 64, a new one. I had like a GameCube afterwards and stuff, but a new, one that was relevant. And I was just starting high school. And I would go on to play other games on the Wii. I would get Smash, I would get Resident Evil 4, I would get like the House of the Dead games, and those were all big influences on me. But I remember it was right before high school started. It was the summer right before I started 9th grade. I had a yard sale. I sold maybe some old games I didn't want and some other clothes and whatever else. And the money that came from my items sold at the yard sale went to me. And I got a decent amount. It was like $40. I wasn't selling much. $40. So I went out to GameStop and spent part of that money on this copy of No More Heroes. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I just knew there was a dude on the front. He looked like he was holding a fluorescent light. It's a beam katana, but at the time I didn't know what the hell that was. And it was rated M, and it had blood and gore. That's all I knew, and I was like, this sounds cool. I will play this. I took it home. I started playing it, and at first it was weird. At first I was like, this is bizarre. I've never played anything like this. I didn't really play a lot of action games. I didn't really dabble into that kind of stuff. I played mainly like pretty standard games: Sonic, Kingdom Hearts, Guitar Hero, Mario, Zelda. So really, this was like a strange experience for me at the time. I started high school maybe a month later, and I was still playing this game. I started high school, and I remember when I was starting high school, that's a big transition in life, and I had a lot of friends that were, kind of moving on to new friend groups, and things were changing. What the world around me was changing. The people that I interacted with was changing, and during a situation like that, it's easy to feel isolated and unsure of yourself and unsure of everything, your identity. And that's something that I faced that first year. I wouldn't say I was depressed or anything like that, but I was definitely, it was in a time of flux. I was definitely confused. So I think at that point, this was like before I even grew my hair out. I grew my hair out like a year after this. I was still trying to figure out like who I was, what kind of person I was going to be, what kind of things I was into, This game helped me, definitely. I really related to Travis, not in the sense of like I want to go kill people, but in the sense that Travis wasn't too dissimilar to me at the time. He was a lonely dude. He, didn't have a lot going on in his life at the time. He just, if you look from the outside in, Travis is a loser. In the first game, Travis is a total loser. He lives in a shitty motel room surrounded by anime and video games. He's a try-hard, wannabe cool guy. He's not your typical game protagonist. Travis in any other game wouldn't be the protagonist. Travis would be a side character at most. And that's kind of how I felt starting high school. I felt like I wasn't the protagonist of my own story. I felt like the world was leaving me behind. But the Travis in the first game, and there are undertones of in context of other things in the story that have to do with like, violence in media and all the other things. But what I really related to in the first game was his drive to just be number one. Why? I mean, there's the joke about sex in the game. That's the beginning joke is that he'll do it for sex. It's whatever. But like, that's dropped quickly. Later on. But the fact that he had nothing to his name, but he was still willing to fight to get as far as he could. And this game's style, this game's personality, the music, the characters. Not only did I relate to Travis, I related with Suda 51 on a personal level. This game taught me to be self-expressive, to be weird, to be out there, to be quirky, to try my best to just do the things I like. And I felt that through this game. This is my favorite. It's tough to say it's my favorite. I like Travis Strikes Again a lot too. I did put that above this in the ranking. Honestly, I would have to tie those games in 3. It's hard to say, but this is one of my favorite games of all time, and I just sort of have like a deep connection with No More Heroes and Suda. That's why I've continued to follow Suda even through his wacky Lollipop Chainsaw years, where he wasn't leading the projects, but just kind of like just writing scenarios and shit. I'm glad he's back in the director's chair, because I can safely say, while I did like No More Heroes 2, I do think it's just a wacky time, though. I don't think there's a lot to really dig into here. There's a few things, but it's definitely not as deep as the first game. I can safely say that No More Heroes 3 and Travis Strikes Again are 2 of my favorite modern games, and these are both games with Suda 51 in the directing chair. And I feel deeply connected with him and what he has to say in these games. So No More Heroes 3, go buy it if you're even slightly interested. I fully recommend it. Thanks for listening to me babble. Like I said, I think probably next year. It's gonna be a while. I do want to do like a No More Heroes series of reviews where I could talk about all 4 of the games and maybe the PS3 remake. I do have that. Until then, guys, go play No More Heroes.